Microphone check one, two. What is this? Yes, yes. Thank you so much for coming in. You guys are hearing all the background noises. New York City is not the only place that has noises in the back, so you guys got to excuse the noises. I'm out here in California, but we still have things like sirens and noises and things like that. Once again, I want to welcome everybody for coming in. I appreciate you guys always tuning in. My name is DJ Mad Scientist, and I am your host for today. I am your academic for today. I'm your lecturer for today, and I don't mind, doing it. I actually enjoy it. Um, those who know me know I'm an Africana Studies major. That's where I got my degree in, and I am an avid, a huge fan of Dr. John Henry Clark and also Dr. Greg Carr at Howard. So I feel like I'm almost taking that space in the hip hop world as being like them, and it's a big responsibility, but it's okay. I enjoy it, and so I thank all you guys that come through every week and take a listen. I know that an hour might be a long time, but a lot of you guys, I see the analytics on the back. A lot of you guys look at the whole thing and you guys give me a thumbs up. Continue to give me thumbs up and also comment. I'm not one of those people that don't want to read the comments. I kind of want to read the comments. Okay. I mean, don't go crazy. Don't be insulting me. But if you got something that you want to say, you feel like you want to say it, then definitely say it, and I will definitely try to respond to it in a timely manner. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and get into the introduction. Okay. Hey, what's up? This is Mad Scientist, DJ Mad Scientist on the all new Power 97.5 LA. Today we are just talking music, where we bring you the vital information about music production, promotion, distribution, and hot takes sometimes. Okay. Every week, right here, we're on the iGlobal Radio app. Download the app from your favorite app store, or you can go to the website iglobalradio.com. Okay. So for those who have been a long time supporter, you might have noticed that the distributor or the broadcaster has changed to iGlobal Radio. And yes, that's a good thing, because if you do go to the website, if you do go to the app, you'll see that we have way more radio stations available, way more affiliates available. We're becoming the new iHeart Radio. So that's a good thing, because it's kind of like having cable, and you have like a lot of stations to go to. You don't just have one. You have sports, you have talk, you have R&B, you have country, you have a lot of different stations that you can definitely tap into. Power 975 LA is the flagship. We are the number one, right? But feel free to go and check us out. Give us a full checkout. Okay, you can get the app on Apple, you can get the app on Amazon, you can get the app on Google. Okay, and definitely have a good time. All right, so normally I would be talking about promotion or production or distribution, but there are times that I talk about hot takes, and especially if it directly relates to music production, promotion, or distribution. So we're not going to be talking about. Hold on, I want to get the camera together. I'm not going to be on here talking about gossip. I don't care who's, marrying who, or who's with who, or who's not with who's breaking up, or who's getting together. We're not talking about that. Okay. Just talking music is just talking music. And like I said, most people know I am an academic. So I'm a trained academic. So I'm not on here to try to start a beef. Okay. I'm not on here um, to insult anyone. I can debate. I reserve that right to debate. Okay. I will debate you, but I don't do it out of disrespect. If I debate anyone, it's because I respect you. It's because I'm an active listener to you, And my goal is to create a not create, it's already out there, but to engage with a community of hip hop scholars so that for the sole purpose of providing a record, okay, a record of hip hop, of who's involved with hip hop, who's creating hip hop, so that for future generations, they will know exactly, who is what is who. Okay. They'll know exactly in real time how what we think. Somebody 50 years from now or 100 or 1,000 years from now will know exactly how mad scientists felt about the topic that we're going to discuss tonight. And there we don't have to guess. Kind of like in my field, we study, the people call them Egyptians. In my world, we call them Kemetic. Okay. But it's ancient African civilizations. And part of the issue is the debate as to whether they're even African. And it's the most insulting debate because they're like, well, how can they be African if they had civilization? If they had civilization, they can't be African. They have to be something else. And back then, unfortunately, when Kemet, Nubia, Ethiopia was around, they weren't thinking like in the future, there's going to be a race discussion and we need to like make sure we're clear, right? They didn't think that. They were just human beings living life and they were expressing themselves, culturally. They were expressing themselves, politically. They were expressing themselves in various ways, psychologically, philosophically. They were, spiritually. They were expressing themselves because they're humans. Okay. They were humans, actual humans, and they had all kind of expression. But, you know, I think in this generation, we want to make sure we're clear. Like, hey, future generations, we're going to be clear because we're not going to make it wasn't a mistake, but we're not going to allow what happened in the past to happen again. And I know there's a debate about hip hop and who created hip hop and who are the major contributors of hip hop. There's always that debate. And one day, I think next week I may, because I have a new mindset on it now that may surprise a lot of people, but it's steeped in, African studies, from an African point of view. So I may discuss that. I just have to like look into it and make sure that it's suitable for what we're doing here. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. We're talking about Timbaland. First thing I want to do is kind of introduce you to what's going on today. Um, Timbaland has announced. Okay, this is not a plan. He has announced that he has created an AI artist, and a lot of people have different opinions on it. I follow I call them podcasters, journalists. They tend to say, I'm not a podcaster, but I call them podcaster journalists. That's not an insult. It's your journalist. Okay, we're all journalists. Okay, we're modern day journalists. We're not. We may not all have the formal training of journalists, but we are journalizing our thoughts. Okay, but all of us are educated in various ways. Um, so I tend to look at Rob Markman. Okay, I think Rob Markman came out of if I'm not mistaken, the Complex. I could be wrong. I have to look up his bio. I should have looked up his bio, but I look at him because he's not the hot takes guy that's going to start beef and start, let me just say, he's not DJ Academics. There's no sensationalism. He just talks facts. And, so I like that. That's the type of person that I am. I'm just the facts. I don't need the beef. I don't really need the entertainment. Okay. I also look at another person. His name is Wayno. Okay. And I like listening to his take. I probably agree more with Rob Markman than I do with Wayno. But that's okay. I don't need to agree with you for me to listen to you. Sometimes I'm looking for my mind to be changed. Like I want to get a different perspective, primarily because I spent most of my time here on the West Coast, number one, and I spent a lot of time in school. So, and with hip hop, it is a marriage between, the academic class and also the what people would call street class, right? They call them a different word, but I'm not going to use that word. But it's street and academic coming together and around the what I call around the umbrella of capitalism, right? Capital, making a lot of money off of music. Okay, got a lot of smart dudes and a lot of street dudes coming together, making money in music. All right, and so I like to hear, different points of view. Sometimes I'll listen to even Glasses Malone, who's like a proud street guy, right? He just he's all into it. It's like sometimes I can't because it's like, bro. But in all fairness, like I said, sometimes I want my opinion to be changed, right? I want my mind to be changed. Okay. And then there's the company man. I don't know his real name, but I just know him as the company man. So you have these people out here. That's just to say, you have people out here who are making really intelligent academic discussions about hip hop music. And so I have my people that I listen to. You may want to go and find these guys on YouTube. I think Glasses Malone is on Twitter, so you can go check him out. And he's on every day at like 1 o'clock. But you can't really listen to him because I'm on at 1 o'clock. So you're just gonna have to like find out if he records it. Okay, but don't be listening to him. You listen to me at 1 o'clock. All right. Other than that, so today I was looking at Rob Markman, and he had a take on the AI. And originally I was going to talk about the Little Wayne project that came out today. Shout out to Little Wayne. Carter 6 dropped today. So I'm not going to talk about that today. I may do something on a different day just because it depends on it. I may talk about it next week. I don't know. We'll see. But I was going to talk about that today. But Rob Markman, um, he made such a good argument. I don't agree with his argument, but it's a good argument that I felt the need to respond to him on Twitter, and he responded back. Okay. Yeah, I was a little surprised because his platform is a little larger than mine, a lot larger than mine, actually. But that's okay. I have radio. I have over 2 million listeners. 2 million listeners? That's right, 2 million listeners. But on in terms of YouTube, his platform is larger than mine. So I was a little surprised that he answered back. And so I want to go ahead and lay that foundation. So let's go ahead and get into what Timbaland is doing. Okay. Now, Timbaland, and you know what? Let me go ahead and just share the screen with you. Share screen. Okay. I'm reading this from Hip Hop DX. Turn on. Okay. So let me make sure you guys are able to see it. Okay, cool. All right. So Timberland announces he is working with an AI artist. Okay. And this article is written by Sam Moore and was published on June 6th. Okay. So that's today, right? And this is Hip Hop DX. I got to give you guys all this. State my sources. This is my source. When they say state your sources, Hip Hop DX, written by Sam Moore, published on June 6, 2025. Okay. Timbaland announces he's working with an AI artist. Timbaland has announced that he is now working with AI artists that aren't actually real. The iconic producer has launched Stage Zero, an AI focused entertainment company, and comes as a result of him experimenting with the AI program Sono. Timbaland has revealed that the company has signed the first ever AI artist who is being called TaTa. That's kind of crazy. TaTa. Isn't there another TaTa, famous TaTa? Anyway, speaking to Billboard, he claimed that this will lead to a new genre. Okay, that's key. I wish I could highlight that. A new genre. Okay. And this is one of the key issues, key points to my opinion on this of music called A-pop. So this is not He's not creating an artist to become a hip hop artist or even a traditional pop artist or a K-pop artist. He's creating a whole different genre, and he's the first at it. And detail how songs from the AI artists are made by putting demos into Sono. So he's actually putting music in there, okay, into Sono, which then turns them into voices and melodies without using actual singers or musicians. This is what is R spell. Okay. He said, quote, I'm not just producing tracks anymore. I'm producing systems, stories, and stars from scratch. TaTa is not an avatar. She is not a character. TaTa is a living, learning, autonomous music artist built with AI. TaTa is the start of something bigger. She's the first artist of a new generation. A-pop, okay, again, highlight, is the next cultural evolution, and TaTa is its first icon, close quote. Timbo added, the technology of today is perfect for what this is. What used to take me 3 months only takes me 2 days. In the beginning, it was like a toy. It was like going to a toy store. I want to highlight this too. It's a toy. You got to go through gluttony because you can't believe that it's here. Timbaland did not reveal when TaTa's first single will be released, but he and Stage Zero have released an image of a young pink haired woman they claim is the singer. Timbaland has previously spoken out in support of AI, which has largely been criticized. It has been criticized across the music industry and also led to Suno being sued. Okay. He said on the inner court, quote, this election just divided us. What I mean by that, it divided the music. It sounds bland. It sounds boring. We talk about AI, but S word, that's the only thing that has a pure soul right now. This lets me know, this quote lets me know he's going all in. He's going to do it. There's no like, this is not a discussion anymore. It's probably already being done. They're just getting all the legal stuff. Okay. You could create something and express your tune, your true feelings, and it comes out beautiful. He continued, but I just feel like right now, everything is just discombobulated, which aligns with everything else in the world. Okay. And that's, I believe that's the end of the article. Okay. So that's Timberland's take on it. And I actually feel like he's doubling down. So, like I said, this is not a matter of, well, let me just see what y'all think. Now, from my understanding, he's had discussions with Young Guru. Young Guru has been one of the people who's been against it. And Rob Markman has put his 2 cents in. And, and they're essentially against it. Why? Because, and now let's segue into Rob Markman's, what I believe to be Rob Markman's position on this. Okay. I believe in, and if I'm wrong, and Rob Markman, you ever see this, and you want to correct me, then feel free, because I didn't get a chance to write this down. I got really busy. I ain't gonna even hold you. I got really busy. I didn't write it down. I should have wrote down notes, but I got to get this done because it's almost 7:30 my time in California time, and I got to be done with this by 8. And I got to turn it in, so I got to go to the club. Sorry. All right, but I did listen to your whole video. Okay, I did. I just got to go by memory. But to sum up how he felt, he was against it, and I believe his position to be that it will limit access of real, actual artists, and it will also diminish the amount of money that they could get paid. Okay, so you have a situation where if I'm a record label, I don't need a real person. If you do come to me and you have a project that I like, then I'm going to pay you less because I don't really need it. So it kind of devalues what humans are doing, number one. And number two, and I think this is the issue with a lot of creators. AI is not autonomous. I know Timbaland said it's autonomous. I know he threw that word, but AI is not thinking on its own. It's an advanced That's why it says artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. It's not actual intelligence. Okay. You're feeding, and then you actually admit it. I'm feeding into this system what I think, is good music, good lyrics, good composition, good arrangement, good instrumentation. It learns. Not only does it look, here's the thing, and this is Rodman has a. That's why I say it's a good debate. He makes a good point. Not only is this machine, this artificial intelligence, getting all this information, but it's getting the information from one of the best. Okay, so this artificial person who's creating this music, off the top, it's gonna be better than a lot of us. Okay, because it's learning from probably top five hip hop producer. Debatable. I don't give him number one. I don't give Timbaland number one, but somewhere between two and five, he's there. So this artificial intelligence is learning from top five hip hop music producer, and probably top 20 pop producer. Let's not forget Timbaland, R&B, pop, and hip hop. Jay-Z, Aaliyah, uh, Justin Timberlake, all of it great. Himself, all of it Grammy, great. So immediately, this artist slash producer, Sono, is way better than 98% of us producers, just off the rip. Okay. That's what's happening. So Rob Markman is like, that's who they're learning from. And then they'll have also access to all the other music that's out there. Okay. They'll have access to Quincy Jones, have access to um, Dr. Dre. He'll have access to Dr. Dre because Timberland has worked with Dr. Dre. So Timberland knows some Dr. Dre secrets. So you could see where this is a problem. Okay. Uh Martin, what's his name? Martin Matrix, the pop guy, the pop god, right? He'll have access to all that information and he'll be able to make music on their level. So when I say this AI will be better than 98% of producers out there, that's not hyperbole. I'm not just flexing. Like that's crazy, right? But it's still artificial intelligence. So now is this artificial intelligence putting out original things or is it putting out copies of great music? Okay. So that's his position. Number one, it diminishes what real people are able to get from the marketplace. And also, this artificial intelligence will have an unfair advantage because it's just being fed and taught, and it's not really having to go through the process of create. And when you're talking about the creative process, it's almost like lived experience, right? Okay, got it, Rob. So now we have Timberland saying, and I want to make sure we're able to stay on point. Timberland saying, "Hey, I'm doing this. I'm creating an artificial intelligence artist." We have Rob Markman, whose position is it's going to diminish what human creatives are being paid. Number two, it's an unfair advantage. Okay. Now we're going to talk about my position on it and how I am reading this, and then I'm going to give you after that. I'm going to give you my argument against Markman. Okay, so I'm going to talk about what Timberland is doing, and then I'm going to talk about what Rob Markman has said. Now he did respond to me on Twitter, and I want to show you what he said. It wasn't a lot because again, he has a larger platform. He might be thinking, "Who is this guy?" But Okay, he did. I appreciate the fact that he did respond. Okay. Um, you'll see right here. This was my original statement at Rob Markman regarding Timbaland and AI. What's the difference? Chipmunks, Scat Cat. Y'all remember MC Scat Cat with Paul Abdul, Charlie Brown? They had a whole jazz album. SpongeBob, he put out projects. All had albums. None were real people. That's my position. All these people were personas. AR artists are just the next evolution to what we already do. In music, we already synthesize everything: the music, the drums, the vocals, and now we're going to be synthesizing. And when I use the word synthesize, I mean like it's artificial. We don't use real drums. If you follow me, you know that I make my own kick drum. I remember I showed you how to do that. Okay. And it's not, I don't sample a real drum. I make it out of a sine wave, synthesized. Okay. Music is all synthesizers. That's what we call them. You got that new synthesizer? Okay. Uh, the Volks, we synthesize the Volks in various ways. Roger Troutman, that was a synthesized Volk. Okay. That was uh, T Pain, the synthesized Volk. And we know there's singers out there who can't sing, who cannot stay on key, but yet autotune allows them to do that. But now we're going to be synthesizing persona. And that's essentially the way I see it. And what Rob Markman said was um, the songwriters. The difference is the songwriters. Okay. And I'm assuming, this is Twitter. He may be like me. I'm not gonna pay extra money to I'm not gonna pay extra money to like write a whole page, and he might be like, I ain't paying extra money to write the whole page to you. That's cool. Got it. So but I'm assuming that he means like, hey, it's going to take away from what creatives. It's not just songwriters. You got composers. Composers are people that write the music. You got songwriters that write the lyrics. You also have arrangers. Those people arrange the song. They essentially sometimes you just have like the beat, and arrangers will come in and say, okay, well, this is what the chorus will sound like. This is what the verse will sound like. This is how we'll chop it up. And then you also have instrumentalists, people who, create the instruments, who program the synthesizers, right? We call them sound designers, instrumentalists, okay? Uh, who are all going to be affected by AI. Yes, yes, okay? So what he is saying is true. I'm not saying that what he's saying is true. Now, when I read what Timbaland is doing is this, and I'm going to go down to his statement. Okay. Number one, um, well, let me first start here. He is creating a new genre. So we're not creating a new artist to be inserted into hip hop. We're not creating a new artist to be inserted into traditional pop. We're not creating a new artist to be even inserted into K-pop, J-pop, or any of the pops that's out there, house music, any other traditional music where there's humans. We're creating a separate genre. Okay. We are creating a separate genre. So that's number one. I take Timbaland at his word. Why? Because the people that Timbaland knows are goats. Timbaland don't know like a bunch of guys like me who, oh, Timbaland, please don't do that to us. No, Timbaland knows. Let me share the screen. Hold on. Timbaland knows, and those who are on the radio, um, I'm sorry if I know this is on the radio, and I'm trying as hard as I can to make sure that you see everything. At the same time, I am on YouTube, so um, I apologize. I will recap at the end. I apologize if I miss anything. Okay, so Timbaland in the article is saying that Timbaland is creating a new genre. So this is totally separate than what we all have right now. And what I'm saying is Timbaland, I take him at his word because Timbaland knows goats. Everyone that Timbaland hangs out with are goats, the greatest of all time. Timbaland hangs out with Jay-Z. Timbaland hangs out. He is good friends with Pharrell. Timbaland hangs out with some of the greatest creatives that are out there. Uh, Even Justin Timberlake, he's a singer. Justin Timberlake should be like the model for AI, but just Justin Timberlake is still out there singing. Just Timberlake hangs out with Dr. Dre, who even at his age, Dr. Dre is still creating music for real, for real. Okay, so he probably had this conversation and given his word, like, no, I'm not going to take what who you are and try to recreate it. I'm not going to try to recreate another Jay-Z. I'm not going to try to recreate another Dr. Dre. I'm not going to try to recreate another Aaliyah. I'm not going to try to create another Missy Elliott. I'm not gonna like, and I take him not because he has a business relationship with these people, but because he has a real, authentic brotherhood and sisterhood with these people. So I don't think that he is going to do anything to jeopardize not just a career, but his relationship with the people that he knows. And like I said, he doesn't know regular people like myself. He knows goats. Okay. Everyone he knows is a goat. All right. He's a shepherd. So I take Timberland at his word that he's creating a new genre. And, this is not something that's new. Um, Anime is not real. Those are not real people. Okay. And probably anime is not going to have real actors at some point in time. Okay. Probably the only reason why animation will have real actors is because, and we're going to talk about this later, is because the Actors Guild has already seen this coming and they've already talked to the major studios. Like, no, you're going to use real actors. And they've come to an agreement. Other than that, on animation, those big film companies would be using AI if they could. Okay. Now, the second thing that I want to kind of highlight um, is that he's like, in the beginning, it was a toy. And you got to go through all this stuff in order to get what you want out of it. In fact, he further says in the same article, uh, I got to put in demos and then it's kind of spits it out. So there is still a creative process. It's not like he wakes up and says, hey, AI, um, spit me out a song. It's still a demo he's got to do. Okay. So, and again, we have to say, and this will be very important when I do the wrap up, I have to take him at his word. And I do take him at his word that it will be that. Okay. Now, I say go ahead and do it. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'll get into Rob Markman after I tell you why. Let me stop sharing the screen. Okay. Why I'm okay with Timberland doing it. Okay. Because he's Timberland. This is going to happen. The technology that he has, it's not some secret technology that only he has access to. I can tell you as a producer, it can be done. I have access to it. Okay. And so it can be done already. It's going to be done. Okay. Um, Number two, we don't have an agreement as music creators. We don't have a union. We don't have an association. We have some that are kind of like I'm a part of a hip hop association, but we don't have some conference that we all go to or a convention. We don't have lobbyists. We don't have anybody who can protect us as a collective. So it is my belief that the three distributors who let everybody out their contracts, who said, oh, go. They said, oh, go, right? Go be independent. Yes, go do your thing. Who controls Spotify, Apple, and I can pretty much tell you, I'm not going to go into details, but they can control the radio stations. They control all the parts of distribution. Okay. They're going to do this. They're going to have AI character. They're going to have AI artists. They're just waiting for timing. And what do I mean by timing? They're not waiting for permission. They're not waiting for the legalities. We have no protection. Okay. Now, from a historical point of view, I would tell you, listen, um, African Americans in this country, our biggest obstacle is not that we can't be successful. We know how to be highly successful. My family's from Oklahoma, that Tulsa part. Okay. There were a lot of black towns. But the reason why Tulsa, Oklahoma happened is because those people that lived there at that time in the 1900s, 1920s, they had no protection. They had no legal law protection. They had no state, they had no federal government that was willing to protect them. And hip hop artists are out here and they're making a lot of money, but they have no nationwide, statewide, government wide protection. No, and here's the sad thing, we don't get along with each other well enough to protect ourselves. We don't. And that's just reality. Do I like it? No. But I recognize the reality. And I'm not going to fool myself into thinking like, I mean, there is no protection. There is no association. There is no union. There's no federation. There's no republic. Nothing that protects hip hop artists or artists, period. Just recently, I'm on my soapbox now. Just recently, um, Taylor Swift just got her master's. She was the third owner. She finally got her master's. This is Taylor Swift. This is the Ice Queen. And yet she just got her master's. The hip hop artists, the ones that sign for all that big bonus and then go blow it on chains, y'all ain't got no protection. Okay. You guys are too busy making it rain in a strip club. Okay. You don't have any protection. So I don't have the illusion, and I have enough historic knowledge to know the big three, they're going to create artificial intelligence artists. It's going to be done. Now, it's just a matter of timing. My position on this is, do I want a 15-year-old setting the unwritten standard? Do I want a 15-year-old to set the unwritten code of ethics for this? Or do I want Timbaland to do it? If I had to choose, I'm going to go with Timbaland because I trust Timbaland, not from a personal point of view. I trust that Timbaland is going to do what's best for all of his GOAT buddies. Now, you may feel like that's a very weak argument, and I would tell you history shows that this is pretty much the best we're going to get. Okay, that's history. And you can debate with me all you want. You can say, well, Norman, you're just a whatever. I'm bringing history to you. Okay, and history has said, and it is like since 1600. I will tell you this. If I think Rob Markman mentioned something about ethics, and I kind of giggled. I didn't laugh because I have respect for the guy, but I giggled because I was like, the first corporation was created in the 1600s, East Indian Trading Company. You know what their first cargo was? Yeah, my ancestors. And even though the church has said, enslaving Africans is wrong, they did it. Ethics and corporations don't go together. They don't mix. Like Biggie said, they mix like two, if you know the lyrics. Okay. These corporations don't have ethics. They don't have morals. They're corporations, and their whole point of view is to make profit. And if you know anything about capitalism, If you go to the person who created capitalism, Adam Smith, he says the natural progression is automation. Automation. And this was in the 1600s, 1663 to be exact. He was in Glasgow University in Scotland, and he was lecturing about capitalism, and the natural progression at the end of the day goes to automation. We're in 2025. That's like over almost 500 years later. The natural progression for capitalism is to get to automation. What do we call automation now? We don't call it automation anymore. We call it artificial intelligence. And we live in a capitalistic society. And yes, I'm sorry that African Americans or Africans in America or Black people have been victims of capitalism and its ever growing need for profit. But we have. And I have a whole nother mindset as to how you can stop it, which I'm not going to go into, but we haven't done it. And so as a result, AI is going to happen. So now it comes down to, who do we want to pioneer this? Timbaland or 15-year-old? Because there's a 15-year-old who's trying to figure it out right now. And that 15-year-old has access to the technology. He has access to the cultural knowledge. He has access to distribution. Oh yeah, just go to TuneCore. What is it, $20 a year or something like that? Some crazy low number? There's no more gatekeepers. Put it out. And that's what the big three are waiting for. That's why they said, go ahead, be independent. So now it comes down to, okay, who's going to set the tone? Who's going to set because the one thing about hip hop and pop is we do like to have our unwritten rules. And if I have to trust somebody to write some unwritten rules, it's going to be Timbaland and his GOAT friends. He's going to be, hey, what do you guys think about this? And he's not going to be talking to me. He's going to be talking to Jay-Z. Hey, what do you think about this? He's going to be talking to Dr. Dre. He's going to be talking to Timbaland, Justin Timberlake. He's going to be talking to Pharrell. He's probably going to talk to Rob Markman. He's going to be talking to Young Guru. He's going to be talking to Ninth Wonder. He's going to be talking to Alchemist. These are the ones who's going to have to write the rules and protect us. That's my point. This has to be done. Because at the end of the day, it's going to get done. So who do we want at the table? Now, I would like for a situation for us to be like the actors. Shut it down. But we're not there. We haven't been there and we're not there. But what we do have is the GOATs who have our interest at heart, who can go and say, okay, this is how it's going to be done. And I applaud the fact that one of the first things he did was he said, we're going to separate this. We're going to put it in a different genre. I'm not going to put this AI artist up. In fact, if you look at the AI artist, she looks Asian or white. So she doesn't even look like a hip hop artist. She looks like one of those K-pop artists. That's what she looks like to me. So that's the first step. Thank you. He could have made her look like anything, but he chose K-pop. So it's kind of like, okay, then we're creating a separate genre, A-pop. So you don't have to worry about this TaTa winning a hip hop award. But if we have a 15-year-old doing it, TaTa would be rapping. TaTa would be twerking. TaTa would be looking like the perfect, ratchet woman, right? And she would, because that 15-year-old would have more cultural understanding, cultural knowledge, that 15-year-old AI character would probably be better than a lot of rappers, singers, and performers out there right now. Because what that 15-year-old does not have is the relationship with the GOATs. And these corporations who want to profit, they're going to profit. We all talk about Nike being progressive. Nike is progressive. They make our shoes for like $5, and then they sell it to us for 200 in Cambodia, in Taiwan. No, not Taiwan, but Cambodia and China. I'm not going to call it, slave labor. I don't believe in that word, slave. But it's low wage labor, and they sell it to us for like $200. And you're saying that Nike is progressive? These corporations want to make profit. And so I hear your argument. I feel your argument. It's about ethics. And let me get into Rob Markman's argument. I feel you. I get it. I'm one of those people that will be affected. I'm one. I'm a producer. I'm a rapper, songwriter, right? And so once AI hits, produced by Timbaland, my value goes down. Because why deal with me? I'm all smart. I'm all intelligent. I want to read the contract. I got writers. I got standards. And I'm intelligent. So I really got standards. You can't be putting me out there pimping me and doing all this other stuff and making me do all kinds of things I don't want to do. I'm not wearing a dress. Sorry. There's certain things I just not going to do because I have another community, Africana Studies community, that I want to be able to go back to, with my head held high. And, I'm a Black man. There's certain things I'm just not going to do. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to call women the B word. I'm not going to call them the W word. I'm not going to use the F bomb. I'm not going to use, I do use the N word. Okay. Can't be perfect. But I have certain ethics in my music. Okay. I'm not going to be putting out something that says I hate my baby mama. I'm not going to do that. I don't care how entertaining it is. So guess what? I devalue myself because I have code of ethics. I have a mind. I have a spirituality. I have a lot of things that artificial intelligence just doesn't have. But I'm also smart enough and educated enough to know, Rob, that it's already here. I told you that on Twitter. It's already here. And thank you for being concerned about my community, the songwriters, and thank you. I appreciate that, brother. But I know because I do production, I do songwriting. Do I use it? No, because I like the process of creating. I enjoy it. So I'm always going to be at a disadvantage, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But I'm also educated enough to know that it's already here. It's already too late. Your debate, although it's very, not cavalier, it's very honorable. It's very noble. And thank you very much. It's very thoughtful. It's too late. We should have been having this discussion probably after Napster in 2000. We should have been having this discussion back in 2000 when, the music industry got with Apple and said, hey, let's create this. And then you had Spotify come in and let's create this partnership in which we can maximize the profit of this music. And guess what? Ha ha on them. They figured out a way to exterminate CDs and LPs and cassettes on their own. They exterminated the one thing they had that made them money. The people, the people exterminated that because we decided to say, we don't want to buy CDs anymore. We don't want to buy cassettes anymore. They're too expensive. You only get one song. $20, and you don't know, most of these songs are garbage. You get one song. Right? $30. Oh my God. You know what? We should just share it. and we extincted CDs, cassettes, and LPs. And we didn't see what was coming. We didn't plan for ourselves what the next evolution was. We allowed the record labels and the distributors and Apple Music, the phone companies, a phone company. Think about that. A phone company came in. This guy, the founder of Apple, I can't think of his name, but he's dying of cancer. He came in and was like, hey, I got a solution for you. And it's like, and we didn't get together and say, hey, okay, whoa, 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 whoa. As a hip hop community, we didn't. Whoa, 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 whoa. We were more concerned about East Coast, West Coast beef. Don't get me on a soapbox, but I was there. I was intelligent enough. I was in college. I was grown enough to know what was really going on. So I'm not fooled by the impassioned arguments because I was there and I was like, okay. Now, I didn't have the solution either, but I know none of us had the solution. And I know we didn't get it right. And then as we got older and the 2010s came around, we were too busy. Hey, baby. Talking about, the death of autotune. We don't like autotune. And then the 2015s came around, 2012, 13, we started going ratchet. Yeah. Go. Start getting ratchet. Okay. The 2020s came around, we had to go underground. Had to find a new way because we had the pandemic. And we went into verses. Oh, who has the best verses? That was the debate. That was our debate. Who had the best verses and who could win at verses? Like it was a spades game. So while we were playing spades, the record companies, the record execs, they were planning. They were figuring it out. They were doing what they were supposed to do, which is try to maximize profit because they're corporations. So here we are. And so I will conclude by saying this. So I got like 3 more minutes. I got to conclude. Listen, I trust Timbaland. If Timbaland were ever to see this, I would say, go, bro. Go hard. Okay. Go in there, create standards, but make sure to create it high. Get with your GOAT friends. Get with Dr. Dre. Make sure that whoever this TaTa is a banger. So that when that 15-year-old comes out and is not as good, we can at least say we have a standard. Create a code of ethics. Okay. Do what we have to do. If you need someone to give you a historical point of view, hit me up. I'm not trying to get beats from you. I make my own beats. All right. So you don't have to worry about beats. You don't have to worry about the hookup. No, I have my own deal. All I want to be able to do is talk about how do we create a system that is pro artist, pro songwriter, artist, producer, human, right? But can coexist with this new technology that's happening. And so I have a historical perspective. And I can lend that to you. Okay. I have people here in the studio who don't. So I can lend that to you. Rob, hey, listen, you make a good point. It's not a bad point. It's a couple decades too late. To be exact, it's 24 years too late. So if you guys want to, you can go to the YouTube channel. You can comment. You can give your opinion. I'm pretty sure, based upon what I've seen on Twitter, it's going to be a lot of passion for the creatives the creative people, the creative community. And please just keep in mind that I'm not anti-creator. I'm a creator myself. Um, I'm not, I am a capitalist, but because I'm here in America. I live in America, so I have to be a capitalist. Okay, I'm not a socialist. Historically, that system has fit. And I'm not a communist. Historically, that system has failed. We've seen in our time both those systems fail, right? Socialism, just think Venezuela, um, and communism, just think Russia. Like, you might be thinking, well, what about Chinese? Okay, well, Chinese has a they don't have a full communist system. They they're like, we have in America, we have a capitalist slash socialist system. China has a communist slash capitalist system. Okay, so we're not full capitalists. We are part socialist. China is not full communist. They have part capitalist system. That's why they're different than Russia, which is more communist. Okay, they have like a very small. I don't think Russia really has any kind of capitalists in their system. They just pretty much are communists, full communists, and it's a failed state. Okay, so I'm neither one of those. Um, I know that my Africana studies community, they say capitalism will never. It's exploitive, and it's been the bane of African Americans, and it has. But that's a whole nother discussion. Why I'm choosing to go ahead and just remain capitalism. That would be another hour. But that's where my position is. And but at the same time, I am a songwriter. I'm a producer. I make my own beats, and I don't use AI. I use AI as in some function, but that's just because I don't have like $2,500 to go get my stuff mastered. But everything else in terms of the composition is real me. Okay, I don't use AI until we get to the mastering. Okay, that's full disclosure. So, that being said, I want to thank everybody who came out again to listen to the radio show on Power 975 LA Radio. If you haven't downloaded the iGlobal app, you can go to Apple, you can go to Google, you can go to Amazon, download the iGlobal Radio app. Okay, or you can go to the website and to iglobalradio.com. And you can hear me on the radio every Saturday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Or usually I stream this around 6 or 7 p.m. on my YouTube channel on Fridays before. Okay, I record it. It's in my vocals in. Okay, thank you very much. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you like to comment, please feel free to comment. Okay, I will respond to your comments. Okay, other than that, thank you very much. You guys have a great weekend and be safe.